हरि गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुनातीरावनचारि यमुनातीरावनचारि जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा कृष्ण चंद्र राधा जय राधा कृष्ण चंद्र राधा जय जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा सुभद्रमयि जय सुदर्शन जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा सुभद्रमयि जय सुदर्शन Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Ananta Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Ananta Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Ananta Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Ananta Jaya Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Gauranita Jaya Gaurani Jaya Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। हरे कृष्णा। So let me share my screen. So today we are going to discuss Canto 3rd, Chapter 22, Shlok 22 and 23. So 22 doesn't have purport, 23 is having purport. So we will recite this, but we will cover 22 as well. So this Shatrupa Maharagi Paribarhan Mahadhanan Dampatyo Paryadat Pritya Bhushavasa Parichadan Shatrupa Maharagi Paribarhan Mahadhanan Dampatyo Paryadat Pritya Bhushavasa Parichadan Shatrupa Maharagi Paribaran Mahadhanan Dampatyo Paryadat Pritya Bhushavasa Parichadan. And devotee would like to recite, repeat the shloka. Hare Krishna. Any devotee want to repeat the shlok?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. I will try Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Satrupa Maharagi Pari Brahmana Mahadhanan Dampatyoho Paryadat Pritya Pusha Vasaha Parichadan.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes. Jyoti Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
I will try.
Yes, please.
Satarupa Maharagni Paribarhan Mahadhanan Dampatya Paryadat Pritya Bhusha Vashaha Parichadan.
Thank you, Mataji, for reciting. So let us read synonyms, word to word meaning. Shatrupa, Empress Shatrupa. Maharagi, the Empress. Paribarhan, dowry. Mahadhanan, valuable presents. Dampatyoho, to the bride and bridegroom. Priyadat, gave. Pritya, out of affection. Bhusha, ornaments. Vasaha, clothes. Parichadan, articles for household use. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Empress Shatrupa lovingly gave most valuable presents suitable for the occasion, such as jewelry, clothes, and household article in dowry to the bride and bridegroom. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The custom of giving one's daughter in charity with a dowry is still current in India. The gifts are given according to the position of the father of the bride. Paribarhan Mahadhanan means the dowry which must be awarded to the bridegroom at the time of marriage. Here, Mahadhanan means greatly valuable gifts befitting the dowry of an empress. The words Bhusha, Vasaha, Parichadan also appear here. Bhusha means ornaments, Vasaha means clothing, and Parichadan means various household articles. All things befitting the marriage ceremony of an emperor's daughter were awarded to Kardam Muni, which was until now observing celibacy as a who was until now observing celibacy as a brahmachari. The bride, Devahuti, was very richly dressed with ornaments and clothing. In this way, Kardam Muni was married with full opulence to a qualified wife and was endowed with the necessary paraphernalia for household life. In the Vedic way of marriage, such a dowry is still given to the bridegroom by the father of the bride. Even in poverty stricken India, there are marriages where hundreds and thousands of rupees are spent for a dowry. The dowry system is not illegal, as some have tried to prove it. The dowry is a gift given to the daughter by the father to show goodwill, and it is compulsory. In rare cases, where the father is completely unable to give a dowry, it is enjoined that he must at least give a fruit and a flower. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, God can also be pleased even by a fruit and a flower. When there is financial inability and no question of accumulating a dowry by another means, one can give a fruit and flower for the satisfaction of the bridegroom. We'll quickly read the translation of the previous verse as well. After having unmistakably known the decision of the queen as well as that of Devahuti, the emperor most gladly gave his daughter to the sage, whose host of virtue was equalled by hers. Let's do Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Tapadakamelam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathavitam Tam Sajivam Sadhuvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Vitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Sapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Pancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Evcha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnuvadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nidinamane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshitarine. Hare Krishna. So first of all, I would like to thank ISKCON Jagannath Mandir for giving me the opportunity to do this seva of speaking on Bhagavatam, which will purify myself and all who are involved in discussing this transcendental literature of Srimad Bhagavatam. And before starting, I would like to request for the blessings of the assembled Vaishnavas so that I can speak something from my understanding of Srimad Bhagavatam and the context here based on the purpose of Srila Prabhupada. So here we will be covering two verses, and before covering, I would like to give some context of where we are, what we are discussing. So here it is the shlokas that we are discussing are related to the marriage of Kardam Muni and Devhuti. So Shambhu Manu and Shatrupa. The name of the queen comes in the verse 23, Shatrupa, if you remember. So Shambhu Manu and Shatrupa, they had a daughter and her name was Devahuti. And currently the marriage of Devahuti is being described. So basically like in the first canto, we know Parikshit Maharaj was cursed and then Shukdev Goswami enters the scene and then Parikshit Maharaj asks certain questions to Shukdev Goswami. So this is the conversation that is happening between Parikshit Maharaj and Shukdev Goswami. So in that conversation comes the conversation between Maitre Muni and Vidur. So the current conversation that we are seeing, the current context of Devhuti Kardamuni, that is the talk that is happening between uh, Maitre Muni and Vidur, Mahatma Vidur. So they are discussing these topics, and in the previous conversation, it is Shukdev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. And the main conversation that is there in the Bhagavatam is between Sut Goswami and all the Shonakadi rishis. So this is how the outermost conversation is between Shonakadi rishi and Sut Goswami. Then in that conversation comes the conversation of Shukdev Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj. In that the conversation comes of Maitre Muni and Mahatma Vidur, and there this conversation is happening between um, Kardamuni, Devhuti, Shambhu Manu, and Shadrupa. So here in the first verse, here the translation it says that Shambhu Manu, he actually took for the permission. He didn't say, okay, I like Kardamuni and let's get my daughter married to Kardamuni. So he saw that queen is also agreeing, that is his wife is also ready, that her daughter can be given to Kardamuni, and Devhuti herself was ready, that I am okay to marry Kardamuni. Okay, so that is what we can see here, that this was not like something was forced upon the daughter. No, there was no force. There was permission taken from the wife and from the daughter, and after that, the marriage was performed. Okay, and this is a very special type of marriage because the generally what we see in the today's world, people want to marry as per the status. If someone is very rich, they want to get married in a rich place. You know. So, but here we see, here in the Vedic culture, basically, it was not money that was very important, but it was the values, the austerity, the spiritual position of a person, which described, okay, how elevated or how best a person is. But in the current context, how good a person is determined by how much money is having. So that's why we see like a lot of marriage nowadays, they are not very stable because the focus is not on the quality of the person but quantity of wealth a person is having, how nice facilities can be there. But in case of Kardamuni and Devuti, we can see practically there was no facility. They were Kardamuni was living in a hermitage, and there was no flat, there was no kingdom, nothing like that was there. कोई महल नहीं था वहां पर. So Devhuti, although she was a princess, she had to stay in a hermitage. And we will read further when they actually get married. After that, Devhuti serves Kardamuni very nicely and without caring for whether she is getting any comfort, she is having maid servants and all or not. So that is the type of relation that we could see in the Vedic times. Such relation is very difficult nowadays. Like Prabhupada also says, nowadays the marriage is kind of a contract. As soon as there is some disagreement, if someone is not able to satisfy the senses of the other person, immediately there is a divorce. Why divorce? Because the current idea of marriage, the ideology of marriage has changed from the qualities, the values, the virtues to only sense gratification. So previously, people used to marry so that they can elevate spiritually, but nowadays people marry so that there can be sense gratification, there can be comfort and things like that. So that's the difference between the Vedic times and the current times. And that is what I will be talking more in today's discussion, like what is a Vedic idea of things and what is the current idea of things, because that is what the shloka is all about. Because you can see the shloka is about dowry system. Nowadays, dowry is not considered very good; it is considered illegal. But here, if we see, Prabhupada is saying dowry was not considered illegal. Okay, the dowry system is not illegal as some have tried to prove it. But we all know internally that something is wrong with the dowry. Then why Prabhupada is saying dowry system is not illegal? Ideally, we feel internally it should be illegal. There are so many cases where the girl is actually burnt alive because she is not able to provide dowry. Her father is not able to provide dowry, or cases where the uh, you know women is sent back to her home. So those kind of things are happening. They are killed also sometimes. So things like that are happening in the name of dowry. So why Prabhupada is saying dowry is not illegal? So we will try to understand that. But before that, we will, as we can see from the purport and the translation, when marriage happened of Kardamuni and Devhuti, Shambhu, Manu, and Shatrupa, specifically here the name of Shatrupa comes, who is the mother of Devhuti. She gave lot of valuable presents, and those presents included jewelry, clothing, household articles, things like that she gave, and not like some little bit quantity, but a huge quantity because she was a princess, so she could give lot of quantity of jewelry, clothing, and household articles. Okay, so now let's try to understand the current context and the Vedic context. Why dowry is very bad nowadays, and why dowry was considered fine, or why Prabhupada is saying dowry is good. So first of all, we need to understand the principle of dowry. Like Prabhupada is saying, if father is not able to give some dowry, he should at least give fruit and a flower. Because Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter 26 verse, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya priyachati. A person, so why Krishna is saying Patram pushpam phalam toyam? For example, a rich person is there, Bill Gates is there, or Warren Buffett, or maybe Jeff Bezos. These are the richest people in the world. So they can give lot of money, lot of things if they want to, obviously. So why Krishna is saying ki Patram pushpam phalam toyam, just give me only Patram pushpam phalam toyam. So it is not that a person who is capable, he should give that. But a person is not capable. So Krishna is saying, okay, it's not like that I want only rich people to come to me. So in Bhagavad Gita, if we read, so Bhagavad Gita, although it looks very philosophical, but if we read it very nicely and if we try to understand the mood of Krishna, and I was hearing in a recent lecture, if we try to understand the mood of Krishna, it's a very loving literature, it's a very loving shastra. And although it's a Upanishad and Upanishads are considered very technical, so Bhagavad Gita definitely is technical, and because Bhagavad Gita is supreme book, like even Shankaracharya says, Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Geetam. So like if you don't have time to read any other scripture, just read Bhagavad Gita. Because nowadays we don't have time, we have to go to office, we have to manage home, and a lot of things are there with us. Life is very busy. And I think that's why Shankaracharya, he could understand, okay, people will be so much busy. So let me tell this, that if you don't have time, you can't read script, you can't read Vedas, you can't read Puranas. At least read Gita Upanishad. You read Bhagavad Gita. And he says, Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Geetam. Like that he's saying. Because so Bhagavad Gita is a very special scripture spoken directly by Lord Krishna. You know. So it is, it has all the aspects in it. It has technical aspect to it. It has, it is a book of yoga. It covers everything about yoga. And Prabhupada also said, whatever is there in other books or other scriptures, everything is there in Bhagavad Gita as well. And because in Bhagavad Gita you find Karam Kand, and Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, everything is there in Bhagavad Gita. So like that. So Bhagavad Gita is very special. So like I was telling, like even the love of Krishna also we can see in Bhagavad Gita. It's not just the philosophy or the intelligence of Krishna we can see, but the loving nature of Krishna also we can see in Bhagavad Gita. So lot of places Krishna, what he's saying, if you do this, you will come to me. If you do this, you will come to me. If you do this, you will come to me. That is how you can come to me. That is what you can do for me. So Krishna is telling that. So Krishna is so much worried about us that we are rotting in this material world. He wants, come back to me, come back to me. And he's telling, okay, you do this, you will come back to me. You do this, you will come back to me. And that shows the loving nature of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. You know. So he's saying, okay, you don't have money, that's fine. No need to worry. You just patram pushpam phalam toyam. You just do that and you come to me. But that doesn't mean if someone is very rich, very wealthy, he also can do patram pushpam phalam toyam. Yes, he can do that, but he should not be limited to that. Because Krishna is intelligent and he's not foolish. If someone, for example, is having 1 crore rupees and he comes and offers, like while walking, while walking in the park, he gets some flower, he plucks that and offers that. So that flower he got for free, and water anyways is free. So he just goes to the temple and then offers a flower and then offers this free water, and then he thinks, Krishna will be pleased. Hey, Krishna is saying what we are hiding. So Krishna is not foolish. So he definitely he'll love if we give something to him, but yeah, if we give as per our caliber, he'll appreciate more. So like that. So same way, here it is mentioned that dowry is not something that is forced. Prabhupada is saying it is not something that is forced. Like Prabhupada is saying, in rare cases where the father is completely unable to give a dowry, he must at least give a fruit and a flower. So like that. So it is not that someone, if they are not able to pay, there has to be some dowry extortion. They have to, like you cannot say no, I want dowry. No, not like that. So Vedic system was, if a person is not capable, if father is not capable, then he can at least give this much. But it is mandatory to give dowry. So we can see in this particular case of Kardamuni and Devahuti, dowry was given, big dowry was given. We can see in the Ramayana, in the when Mother Sita was married, and at that time Janak Maharaj also gave lot of dowry to Lord Ram. So that is the culture. Now let's try to understand why the system of dowry was there. Okay. So if we see like I am there, my parent is there, my father is there. So after let's not take that example. Let's take a general example. If son is there and the father is there. So after the father departs, so who will get the property of the father? So definitely the son will inherit the property of the father. Okay. But what about female child? What about the daughter of the father? She also should have some share, no, because she is also the daughter, and she is also child, one of the child of the father. So she also should have some share. You can't give simply everything to son, right? So dowry was a system of female inheritance. That was a system of female inheritance, and that's how the female child of the father would receive money from the father. So at the time of the marriage, so father will say, okay, I have kept some money for my son, and this is the money that I will give to my daughter. Yeah. And the same money which the daughter will receive, the dowry which daughter will receive, that is, as I was saying, it was female inheritance. So this will be passed down to her daughter. So ideally, the husband doesn't have, 100% right on that property. In some cases where, the husband is not able to earn anything, something happens wrong, husband dies, things like that. So at that time, this will become the kind of emergency wealth which the women can use to sustain further. Okay, because otherwise, what will happen if women is there and she is in need? A lot of men, they try to eye that particular women, that we understand, that we know, right? So to protect those kind of bad things in this society as well, so the father used to give this dowry to the daughter. But as we see it, it was given out of love and affection. It was not something that was forced. So in the current system that we see, the current era where we are, it is forced. It is forced. So that's why, like, it is forced currently, but it was not something that was forced in the Vedic times. That's why Prabhupada is saying it is not illegal. है ना? It should be given, but the current way of implementation is very bad. And at some cases it is, where the girl dies, is killed, basically. So that is extreme. There will be heavy reactions for that. Okay. So I hope this understanding is clear of the female inheritance. How, like, just like male child will inherit the property of the father, same way female also should inherit the property of her father, and that property would belong to the female child only. It is not the property of the husband. That's it. It can be used based on the mutual agreement, but ideally it belongs to the daughter, and that daughter will pass that wealth down to her daughter, and that's how it used to work. Okay, so that was just one example of how degraded the system of dowry has become. So as we know, कलेर दोषे निधे राजनस्ति है एको महान गुना कीर्तनादेव कृष्णस्य मुक्त संग परम व्रजेत. In the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukdev Goswami is talking about all the evils of Kali Yuga. So this is one effect of Kali Yuga with the system of dowry. Like in Bhagavad Gita, we hear, right, in 4th chapter, second verse. Let me just, I'm not able to recall. 1 second. 4.2. सकालेन महता योगो नष्ट परंपरा परंतपा. So Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, 2nd verse, that Arjun, I gave this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to Sun God in the starting of the creation. But due to influence of the time, it has now degraded and this knowledge is lost. So I'm re-establishing this knowledge. So this is what happens. Any knowledge that is there, anything, any system that is there, it actually starts deteriorating. That is the nature of this material world. In the material world, everything deteriorates. For example, if you lock a room, you perfectly lock it, and if you open after 10 years, you can understand what will be the situation of the room. There will be lot of cobwebs, there will be lot of dust, everything. Although you have locked it properly, it will not be clean as it was 10 years before. Okay, so this is the nature of material world. Everything deteriorates in the material world. Same way, the knowledge, the systems, they all deteriorate. Like we saw the example of dowry now. Let's take another example of sati system. So sati system, is it good or bad? Any comments from any of you? What do you say? Sati system is good or was it bad?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mandir.
Prabhuji, as per my understanding, though, it is not good ideally, because for the sake of one life, the other life should not be ended willingly in this way, and by this reason, God has given this precious gift to us. I don't know the other reasons if this could also around to the older culture, but
Yeah.
I feel so it is not good.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji, for sharing this viewpoint. And this is what is happening actually in the current system that we see. So we have, the caste system, and then there is a counterpart, Varnashram system. Okay, so caste system is bad, Varnashram system is good. Same way, there is a modern sati system, and then there is a Vedic sati system. Modern sati system is bad, Vedic sati system is good. So let's try to understand this first of all. So before I speak on this, let me take some examples, some prominent examples, like when King Dashrath, when he died, who all went for sati? Kaushalya, Kekai, Sumitra. Did any one of them went for sati? No. What about when King Pandu died? When Pandu died, he had two wives, Kunti Devi and Madri Mata. Who died or who went for sati? It was Madri Mata. है ना? So Mother Madri, she went for the sati. है ना? But Kunti Mata, she didn't go for it. So actually, the sati system was not something that was enforced or that was forced upon. That you have to go and you have to die with your husband, otherwise you are not chaste and things like that. That is modern sati system. Okay. In the modern sati system, even though you didn't had the courage, you didn't had the attachment, you were still sent in the fire to die along with the husband. But the Vedic sati system was not like that. It was voluntary. And to put things in perspective, I'll try to compare it with the modern way of doing things as well, how the things are in the material world, or how some propagandas as well I will try to include and cover. So if you see the education system, what they are promoting, they are saying sati system is bad. Okay, they are not first of all touching to the Vedic sati system because the idea is just to criticize Vedas, to criticize scriptures, spirituality. That is the idea of the modern education. Okay, it's to somehow make the people atheistic. है ना? So now the same people who say sati system was very bad, these are the same people who say who talk about Romeo Juliet, here Ranja. Like these people also died for each other. है ना? These people also died for each other. So if you are criticizing one couple who was dying for each other in the name of sati, and you are glorifying other one, what do we understand by this? We simply understand that there is something wrong in your understanding. You simply want to, whatever is Vedic, whatever is having a connection with Vedas, you simply want to criticize that. That is the idea. Because in both the cases, right, in the Romeo Juliet case or Hiranja case, they are also dying for each other. And here in the Sati system also, they are dying for each other. Sati system is, I am not comparing them both. There is a, very huge difference. In case of this modern, love stories, they are dying out of some material affection. But in case of sati system, it's not a material affection actually, it is a spiritual affection. Like Vidwan Gorang Prabhu, in one of his classes, he was telling what was the idea of Sati system actually. The idea of Sati system was both husband and wife, they used to come together to practice spirituality. In case of Kardamuni and Devhuti, we can see it's not like they are coming together and chalo Manali chalte hain, let's go to Switzerland, Holland, Poland, wherever, है ना, Malaysia, Asia. No, they're coming together to practice spirituality. है ना? So we can see, like as we keep reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, we will see Kardamuni is practicing tapasya, is doing austerities, and Devhuti is supporting her husband, and that's how Kardamuni is, spiritually uplifting by her austerities, and Devhuti, Mother Devhuti is uplifting by serving the husband. That's the idea. So husband will practice the spirituality, wife will serve the husband, and that's how both will elevate. Even in the current Krishna conscious system, the current Krishna conscious society we are part of, both husband and wife, they will practice spirituality together. They will practice Krishna consciousness together. Like at least, especially in Bangalore, if I talk about Bangalore, lot of people or lot of couples, spiritual couples, they do bhakti vriksha at their homes. You know. So that what is that actually? It's like we are uplifting ourselves and we are helping others also uplift. That is a system that we are following in our Seshadripuram temple, the bhakti vriksha system, which is a very powerful system. So there are a lot of systems, and out of them, I feel like Bhakti Vriksha is a very powerful system, where people get connected very easily and they feel, part of the system, and they get very nice understanding of the Krishna consciousness society, Krishna consciousness movement in a very practical and relatable, easy way. So that's the unique selling point of Bhakti Vriksha system, and that's why it is, very popular. And even Srila Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, he also talks a lot about it. He's in the ministry of he's in the ministry of ISKCON Congregation Development Ministry. Okay, he's part of that also. So like that. So this was the Vedic idea that we do marriage so that we can advance spiritually. So what happens in case the husband dies? So wife, because she is spiritually attached, not materially attached. Like the example of love stories that I gave, so they were materially attached. There was no spiritual touch in that. They were not like कि हम कृष्ण भगवान की भक्ति करेंगे, चलो एक मर गया है हम भी मर जाते हैं साथ में करेंगे, नहीं, that was not the idea. The idea was, oh, I love this person so much, this person is no more there, let me also give up my life, I can't live without this person. That was the modern love story idea. But the Vedic idea is we want to be together so that we can practice spirituality together. And that's the whole idea of Varnashram system, where a person, like two people, they get married for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu. It is not for the satisfaction of each other, it is for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu. And that's why Grahastha ashram is not discouraged. Grahastha ashram is not discouraged, it is given importance. Why it is given importance? Because people are coming together for spiritual upliftment, not for some material sake, है ना, कि घूमने जाएंगे इधर उधर. No, see, those things will be there, that is part of the relationship between husband and wife, but the primary idea was spiritual upliftment. Okay, so I hope this is clear, right? So in the Vedic time, so if husband would leave the body, so wife would go along with the husband, so that in the next life they again become husband wife. So that was the idea. Okay, but same thing doesn't hold now. Okay, but this also we understand that why the modern media education only talks about the modern sati system. They don't want to touch upon the Vedic sati system, which is very scientific, very practical. Okay, so like I was saying, third case was caste system versus varnashram. The caste system, you become a brahmana, you become a vaishya, kshatriya, etc. by birth. But Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, guna karma vibhagasha. A person becomes a brahman by guna and karma, not by janma. That is the idea. So this also we can see that how the varnashram system has also degraded in the Kali Yuga. So this is the nature of Kali Yuga. Everything degrades in the Kali Yuga. So that's why Shukdev Goswami, what he says in Bhagavatam, Kalir dosha nidhirajan. See, what we were talking about were dosh, the fault. Caste system is a fault, modern sati system is a fault, modern dowry system is a fault. So what Shukdev Goswami is saying, Kaler dosha nidhe rajan. He is not saying ki some faults are there in the Kalyuga. He is saying Kaler dosha nidhe rajan. He is saying Kalyug dosho ka sagar hai. Nidhi matlab ocean. So Nidhi basically means ocean. Okay. So Shukdev Goswami is saying this Kalyug is ocean of faults. So it's not like if someone says, okay, I have found this fault, I found this fault. है ना? This very easy to find in Kali Yuga because Shukdev Goswami himself saying it's full of faults. है ना? But there is one special quality about Kali Yuga, and what is that? Kirtanadeva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Vrajet. If a person chants the name of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. है ना मुक्त संग परम व्रजेत है ना he'll become liberated and he'll attain the supreme abode of the supreme personality of Godhead. So that is the difference. Okay. So although a lot of problems are there, a lot of things are there, but yes, there is only one good quality. And there is one more thing, one important thing that I can talk about in this particular system of dowry, uh, which is, this is about the modern context, which I discussed till now. Let me talk about something that is applicable for our bhakti as well. Okay. So this system of dowry, initially it was like you give something, and the rule was you give something to your daughter. That was the rule, and there was idea behind the rule. Okay, you do this because it is female inheritance. That was the idea, so that female also feels secure in case husband dies, something happens to husband. Female doesn't become insecure. So that was the idea. So, but what happened recently? This idea that is no longer there. Only the rule is there, and this is something that is what Rup Goswami talks about in Upadesha Amrit, and he calls it Niyam Agraha. Niyam Agraha basically means that accepting the rule just for accepting it, not understanding the idea behind the rule. For example, if someone comes in the like, let's say there is a Janmashtami celebration in the temple, and there is a huge gathering in the temple. Let's say there are 2,000 people who have come to the temple. uh, And suddenly there is a Prabhupada disciple, and someone told you that you need to manage queue and everyone should take prasadam in the queue. uh, And then a Prabhupada disciple comes, and then you say, no, Prabhuji, you need to be in the queue. So, what do you think? Is this right or is this wrong? Devotee is doing what he was told. But this becomes Niyamagraha because he's a Prabhupada disciple, he's a special position, right? We should give him a special respect. So it is like if sometimes we don't think that much, but let's say if there is a huge queue like this, and let's say Prime Minister comes, what will happen? Will we ask him to stand in the queue? And Prabhupada disciples are much more important than Prime Minister. So if we want make Prime Minister stand in the queue, how can we make Prabhupada disciple stand in the queue, right? So there is a rule, but there has to be. We need to understand what is the idea behind that rule. We should not simply tell people, okay, you do this, and then like I was told this, and this is how it is supposed to be. We need to understand the idea behind that rule. For example, one of the rules is we should chant 16 rounds. But if someone is very sick and you go to meet him in the hospital, the person is admitted, and you ask, Prabhuji, 16 mala hua kya? It is not the right time to ask this question. First, you ask, how is everything? Are you okay? And things like that. And then we can ask, are you able to chant your rounds? Is there something we can help so that you can complete your rounds and things like that. So for every rule that is there, we need to understand the idea behind that rule. Okay, even for book reading. Sometimes what happens, we just simply keep reading through the book. We have been told that we need to read books so that we get shiksha. Like shiksha ceremony will happen in few days in our temple. So sometimes we just, okay, let me go through the book. They are telling me to go through the book, find answers. Let me just find the answers. Let me Google it and write down. No, that is not the idea behind Shiksha program. The idea behind Shiksha program is we read the books thoroughly. We try to understand what Prabhupada is saying, what Prabhupada wants to speak, what is the intention, what is in this book for me, how can I apply the principles that Prabhupada is talking so that I can elevate spiritually? That is the idea with which we should read the books. Uh, So, but sometimes what happens, we act superficially, and even like chanting 16 rounds. So I'm not saying I am perfect at these things. I do these mistakes as well, not like that. I am also trying to improve. So like another rule that we have to follow is chant 16 rounds. And what happens? We just somehow count 16 and then that's it. We don't chant extra. At least I can say about myself. Like sometimes many times I don't chant extra rounds. But the idea behind 16 rounds is that we develop some love for the holy names so that we can chant more. Prabhupada, one devotee asked Prabhupada, like, Prabhupada, how do we know if we have chanted, good 16 rounds? Then Prabhupada said, if you feel like chanting more after 16 rounds, that means you have chanted nice 16 rounds, good 16 rounds. So that's how we, like, even one time I was asking Vidwan Gorang Prabhuji, like Prabhuji, how do we advance faster? He says, then you need to chant more. You need to chant more. You know. We need to read Prabhupada books. We need to chant more. So these are the basic items that we need to follow to advance. And we need to preach. So these things, if we do properly, then definitely we'll advance spiritually faster. So for every rule that we hear in ISKCON, we should try to understand what is the idea behind that rule, and should not simply do it. We should try to understand what is the intention behind this idea. Because if we don't understand the intention, like we see the how the modern dowry system is so bad and how the Vedic system of dowry was so good. And so if we don't, and what is the difference? It's just the difference behind the understanding the idea. The rule is the same, and a dowry has to be given. The rule is the same, but the idea, the understanding behind that is completely missing. Same way, if we don't try to understand why we are reading Prabhupada's books, what Prabhupada is trying to say in the books, then same thing will happen. There's nothing new that will happen. If we don't understand the ideology, what is the idea behind that particular rule, then we'll also end up in the same place. And many times it may happen like we are reading Prabhupada book, and we may not be able to understand something. So that time, and that's a very good opportunity. If you are reading Prabhupada book, if we are reading Prabhupada book and we don't understand something, that's actually Krishna's mercy. Krishna is giving us a chance to interact with senior devotees. Krishna is saying, okay, let me not make you understand this so that you approach someone, a senior devotee. And that's how the relation also will improve with the senior devotees. Otherwise, see, if we understand everything that is there in the Prabhupada books, if everything we understand very easily, we will not approach senior devotees. We'll become independent, and that's it. That's the end of it. We no longer need devotee association. If we can understand everything on our own, if we can do everything on our own, why do we need devotees? So this is also a special blessing of Krishna, when we don't understand anything. So this also we should understand. Like if we are not understanding something, the idea, now there's the idea of Krishna. So Krishna wants us to interact with the senior devotees. So we should approach our Bhakti Riksha leaders. That's why they are there. That's why they are there to answer your queries, the questions. So the very wonderful system of Bhakti Riksha that we have in our temple. So please follow the system nicely and please try. We can improve more on that. So I had only this much to say. Is there any question or comment or query or feedback, anything? No questions, comments, feedback, query?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Prabhuji, you spoke about Shiksha program that is going to come in. Can you give us a little more insights on that? What is this all about? And
Mataji, whose Bhakti Riksha you are attending currently?
I don't know that.
Are you attending some program of temple?
I attend Bhagavatam classes and I've done the Gita Gyan Bhagavad Gita course.
Okay.
And sometimes I attend Sri Ram Prabhuji's Bhagavatam classes that happens at 10 in the morning.
Okay. So looks like Mata, you are still not in the Bhakti Riksha. So what happens before Bhakti Riksha? We try to get devotees in the temple, and slowly we introduce them to Bhakti Riksha system. So once like, so you are under care of Sri Ram Prabhuji, is it like that? Or,
Yes, Prabhuji.
so yeah, so maybe you can ask him about the Shiksha program, like when you will become part of the Shiksha program, he can answer better in that case. Okay. So basically, a Bhakti Riksha system, when the Bhakti Riksha starts, that time the Shiksha program will come into the picture. Is it fine, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. What is the objective of this program?
The objective of the Shiksha program is, like, currently we are there, right? For example, you are there. Now you start practicing spirituality, and then someday you need to take initiation, right? So that you can actually go back home, back to God, because without initiation we can't, right? So this Shiksha ceremony or the Shiksha system helps us to reach that initiation stage very soon.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got
because
it.
when we take initiation, when we accept a guru, we should have proper idea of what we are entering into. So there are different Shiksha levels, like there is Krishna Sadhak, Krishna Upasak, Prabhupada Ashray, Guru Ashray, etc. Many levels are there in that. So at each level, we get a better understanding of the system. There are certain books that we need to read, Prabhupada books that we need to read. So slowly we start reading those books, and then we become more and more qualified. We understand things better. Like that. So when we take initiation, we take it in the proper understanding.
Got it,
Like,
Prabhuji. Thank you.
thank you, man. Okay, if there is nothing else, then I would like to end here. So Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai,
Jai.
Gamit Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you,
Krishna
Prabhuji.
Prabhupada.
Dandavat pranam for your wonderful.
Ram Guruji, thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.